Wise words from Roberto Clemente. Let's talk about that. Folks, welcome to the Baseball Brewhaha. Before we dive into anything here, little announcement, show update. If you've been with us from the beginning, which thank you to the one person who has, we've done a few different changes. We're mixing up a little bit. We're gonna change our cadence. Adam, why don't you tell people what we're doing?
Instead of just one long show
Mhm.
once a week, we're going to break it up and do some shorter segments
Mhm.
throughout the week. Uh, Probably be dropping a few days a week. We're going to and play around with some themes.
Yeah, do a
You
few
know,
different things. We've got numerous things that we like to talk about. And so we're hoping to mix it up a little bit. If you've got ideas, you have something you want us to talk about, drop it in the comments, and we will most certainly guarantee to do it. But I can't say guarantee because if it's, you know, if it's inappropriate, we're not going to do
or
it.
if it's outside the scope of our expertise, maybe,
Yeah, I mean, we
but
can do
we
we
could
could do
tie it in.
some research and we could tie something in, but generally, like if it's not appropriate, we're not gonna do it. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. So
Yeah.
comment on it if you want, but we ain't doing it. Anyway, um, so for today, we gotta talk Roberto Clemente. Adam, you and I had a moment.
We did. We had a twin moment,
Yeah,
some might call it.
I had Roberto Clemente book, this one right here,
Hmm.
Clemente by David Moranis.
Hmm.
That was given to me by our dad. And I told you I hadn't read it yet when I visited you, but I said it's on my list. You checked it out at the library,
I did.
and then we proceeded without even I didn't have any idea you were reading the book.
Yeah.
Finished it on the same day,
Same day.
probably roughly within the same like part of the day, because I finished it in the evening, and so did you.
I sure did.
That was crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, there's a quote in here. Adam, I'll give you the page number and you can recite it. Just kidding.
I have not yet memorized the Clemente book as I have all the other books I've read.
Yeah, yeah, photographic memory.
Yeah.
Anyway, page 272, in case you care. Um, he's talking about basically like caring for humanity.
Hmm.
And here's what he said. He said, we can give them the love and more attention to our home, our kids, our family, and our neighbors. We are brothers, basically saying, like, both in Puerto Rico where we grew up, but just like generically speaking, humanity, we're brothers, we're siblings, we care for one another. And don't say, well, I don't want to do it, somebody else will, because you are somebody. His closing message took on more urgency every time he said it. If you have a chance to help others and don't, you're wasting your time on this earth. That was that little segment right there really hit me. It was really
Hmm.
powerful. You may not remember those precise words, but that sort of theme certainly played its way throughout this book. And so I was curious your thoughts.
I remember it clearly, in part because it was repeated throughout the book. And
Mhm.
as you said, it was a theme of not only the book that David Moranis pulled out as far as like being the author of the story, and his job is to, weave themes into the story of a person's life. But it was clear that this was a guiding philosophy for Roberto Clemente, and uh, ultimately was at the heart of his the end of his life as he was uh, preparing and did
Mhm.
so much for the people of Nicaragua who had suffered an earthquake, and then he died on a flight that crashed carrying a lot of supplies,
Mhm.
food, clothing, etc. for Nicaraguan people,
Mhm.
and he died doing what he lived his life to be and to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's not like Clemente didn't lay out a prescription in terms of like you got to do this or this or this. But I just felt like it was such a great reminder that um like we can achieve great things and we have desires in our lives um that we can pursue. Uh, but if in the midst of all of that, like Clemente was a tremendous baseball player, and he spent a lot of time doing that. But in the midst of that, he made time for people, and he cared for people, and he helped people. And so that looks different for different people. It was a great reminder to me of not just about like giving to the poor, which is amazing, but it's not just about that. It's about every person that you meet is a person, and to stop, as best you can, where you can, to stop and care for that person, whatever those needs may be, whether they're physical, emotional, whatever it is. I thought it was just really powerful. Um, I had never, I knew about Roberto Clemente's death, that of kind of generically how it happened. To read what actually happened was heartbreaking. I'm just I'm gonna say it. That was tough. It was real tough. So
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too, the another theme that was persistent throughout the book was his belief at how he was underrated, underappreciated as far as being a baseball player,
mhm,
which in some ways is a little bit counterintuitive to the the humanitarian sort of heroic vibe that is portrayed in his legacy. And
yeah,
there was a lot of his career and sort of like the a fire that burned within him that was stoked by these feelings of being underappreciated as a baseball player, which at the end, ultimately, to him, baseball seemed not that important in the big picture. It was like his pathway to
mhm,
service and to making an impact.
yeah,
And, you know, and maybe perhaps that's part of it as well, is maybe he felt like he could have made a greater impact had he received the recognition that he had and had a platform that allowed him to do more of the things he wanted to do. I don't know, but it was an interesting
mhm.
uh, juxtaposition that I noticed in the book.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly had a lot of pride for his country, and he really it was sort of, yes, it kind of came through as being about him, but really it was more about how the world viewed his people, how the world viewed Puerto Ricans. And it was kind
Hmm.
of like, if you disparage Roberto Clemente, then you're going to think all Puerto Ricans are lazy or whatever it might be. And and so I think a lot of that was part of that. And so he carried intense pride with him for his people. And in many ways, sort of like he was one of those guys that felt like he didn't forget his roots, and had a powerful impact on community that and is that the island of Puerto Rico. Very, very powerful impact. So in thinking about Roberto Clemente, finishing this book just as we're heading into Christmas season, there are numerous opportunities to serve, give, whatever it might be, and that may look completely different. I know it was interesting. One of my daughters she saw a giving tree in another town that was about 30 miles away. And she's like, I want to do it. And I was like, well, it's gonna be a little hard to do it here because it's kind of far from our house, but let's look for one. And we haven't found one in the town that we're in. So we're kind of looking for, and we've had some other opportunities, but anyway, it's been fun kind of seeing our kids want to figure out how can we give, how can we that kind of thing. So kids are actually fantastic at this type of thing. You get them like one little piece of direction and they will run with it, and that's cool. So
They will. Yeah, my school, for those who don't know, I work in schools. My school is a great example of this. Uh, Tomorrow we'll be kicking off a month of giving, and each grade level in our school is sort of like given a family or a group of people um, to give gifts for, and so they collect throughout the month and uh, support those who need a little extra this holiday season during the winter months. Maybe need some warm clothes, need some extra food.
yeah,
So I'm
for sure.
excited about seeing what comes together uh, at my school.
That's cool. That's cool. So, well, folks, hope you enjoy finding, exploring that and getting involved in your community this winter. Um, but we're excited for that. I'm thankful for this book. It's a great book. I encourage you to read it. And with that, see you next time.